The easiest decision you'll make all week is to shop Kohl's this weekend, because Kohl's will give you tax break savings with an extra 10% off and an extra $10 off your purchase of $25 or more. Everyone gets Kohl's cash too. Plus, shop late Friday or early Saturday and take an extra 15% off jeans for the family. Already on sale. Stack the savings and save even more this weekend at Kohl's. Select styles, offer valid 11/4 through 11/6. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
Blog Talk Radio.
Writing your book is the easy part. Promoting your book so readers can find and purchase it is the hard part. Welcome to the Author Chat Show, hosted by author-publisher Lynda D. Brown. Follow us at www.facebook.com/authorchat. And to contact the show to promote your book, contact me at theauthorchatshow@gmail.com. Stay tuned and listen to today's show.
And welcome to the Tuesday morning edition of the Author Chat Show. I'm your host, Lynda D. Brown. My guest today is returning to the show for the second time to discuss his book, My Child Left Behind. Author Gary Chattman was on the show earlier this year for the pre-release, and now the book has been released. And so we're going to go back and talk about the book, My Child Left Behind. We'll be right back to chat with Gary about his book after a word from today's sponsor.
PrimeStar Publicity and Public Relations is a full-service firm ready to fill the needs of their clients. Owner Helen Cook has more than 32 years of publicity, public relations, advertising, and marketing experience, and she focuses her professional talents on working with her clients' strengths to create customized, strategic campaigns, whether their needs are great or small. Radio, TV, print, internet, publicity, marketing, creating a social media presence, branding, client positioning, author tours, speaking events. These are just some of the services PrimeStar provides for their clients. For a complete list of services and other information about the company, please visit our website, www.primestarpublicity.com, or email Helen at helen.cook@primestarpublicity.com, or phone 903-654-0938. PrimeStar's home office is located in the Houston, Texas area.
Welcome back to the show. For those of you just tuning in, today's guest is author Gary Chattman. Gary returns to the show to discuss the release of his new book, My Child Left Behind. This is Gary, like I mentioned earlier, second appearance on the show. Gary, welcome back to the Author Chat Show.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. And
we are thrilled to have you back.
Yeah.
Okay, we are so thrilled to have you back.
Yeah. You're a unique person. Let me go on the record with that.
You're so sweet. You're so sweet. We really enjoy having our authors come back on the show because one of the things that we're really big on is making sure that when you have a book to release, that you do a pre-release, and this is exactly what Gary did earlier this year. He was in the process of releasing his book, My Child Left Behind. The book was actually released on August the 23rd, 2016. Now, Gary, for those that maybe did not get a chance to hear your first interview, why don't we get started with you telling us a little bit about yourself?
About me? I like to talk about myself. Anyway, I am a retired New York City public school teacher and administrator. Since I retired, I've written 6 books. Each book has a niche. In other words, each book is different. One of the books, called Coming of Age, is about how bar and bat mitzvah can be taught outside Hebrew school because Hebrew school is boring. Another book is a novel about kids caught up in the Holocaust. Another one, I published some of the writings of the kids that I teach. Another one is a history of my life in the New York City public school system. And this book, which is very important, is about how the educational system today is horrific. I also teach piano. I'm a concert pianist. And let's see if there's anything else I do. I do laundry. That's a joke. Okay.
Unfortunately, we kind of all do laundry.
Right.
Exactly.
I do a lot of things, man. I really, really do. And I love teaching kids. I still tutor today. I tell the kids that when I first started tutoring, Abraham Lincoln was president. And some of the kids believe me.
and that, I hate to say it, that's really a scathing indictment with our educational system. We are, Gary, so far behind. Yeah. Talk to us about how we're so far behind. Go ahead, sweetie.
I apologize. I talk a lot.
That's okay.
If you'll notice, in the past year and a half of political campaigning in America, not one candidate has mentioned the poor education system in America. And we're left with 2 dodo birds who still don't mention education. They still don't. And we're talking about the future of our country. You know, I mean, we learn a lot from political campaigns, obviously. I sent a copy of my book to the Clinton campaign. They asked for it. I sent a copy of my book to the Trump campaign. They asked for it. They haven't mentioned it, and they don't talk about education. Now, the book itself talks about how education is horrible in America. Now, for me to write a straight book, narrative style is boring. What I did was I put Common Core and the Pearson Company that sponsors all our standardized testing, and the Danielson rubric, which is the way teachers are rated today, on trial. In other words, the book is a trial. So it reads like a novel. And it indicts the current My Child, whatever it is, My Child Left Behind, No Child Left Behind. That's nonsense. And I apologize. I like the president today, but his educational policies are horrific. The way the federal government set out 7 years ago, to bribe states for these Common Core standards, the name of the money is money. As I said, the name of the money is money.
Exactly.
Bribes to the states, bribes to public officials. In the book, if you like Governor Christie, if you like Governor Cuomo, and even Governor Walker of Washington State, read the book. After you read the book, you'll hate them because they took money. Yeah. They took hedge fund money to promote these policies. Now, my main idea is simple. All children do not learn alike. They are not common. They are uncommon. And you can't put standards from 27 people in Washington who put this together, none of whom was a teacher. to teach every child in America the same thing the same way. And then to compound the stupidity, you test them with tests and materials prepared by the Pearson Company, which is located in England, and part of the running of that company is the nephew of Muammar Gaddafi. There's proof in the book. So we have standardized testing on the Common Core standards for children who come from various backgrounds. Now, people who live in rich areas, I live in New York, I'll use that, Scarsdale, New York, do not learn the same as kids who live in an inner city area of, let's say, Detroit. It's not to say they don't have the potential to learn. It's just that their opportunities are different. I've been to many homes in Westchester, New York, or Rockland County, New York, or even New York City, where parents hire nannies to take care of their kids. If a kid is deficient in a subject, they hire a tutor. Now, if you take an inner city home, or even a home with one parent today, and there are loads of those around, money is not there to help kids learn. Also, today, both parents work. You have to. Even in a home with two parents, you have to work. So, kid comes home from school. You need money. You need money. A kid comes home from school, and there's no one there. Then mommy and daddy finally come home from work. The last thing they're going to ask the kid is, how was school? Did you do your homework? Parents are exhausted. So where is the accountability? Now, there's an opt-out movement that's been growing of parents who keep their kids away from the standardized tests. There's got to be an opt-out movement to keep kids away from Common Core. It's ridiculous. It's nonsensical. I mean, I know people who are teachers today who are horrified. I also know, I have a friend who works in a college, and a lot of his students are going into education. There are a few of them, and each one dreads the idea. And most college kids today stay away from education because of the rigid regulations. And the last part of this insane system is the rubric, whether it's the Danielson rubric or another rubric. Teachers have to attend meetings. Get this. Teachers have to attend meetings. Teachers have to be evaluated on plans listed by the district or by the state or by their administrator. And each teacher now has to live up to these standards. That's fantastic. But just like all kids are not alike, all teachers are not alike. If I was teaching in 2016, I write in the book, if I was teaching in 2016, I'd be fired. I'd be held up to ridicule because my methods are different, my thoughts are different, and I am pro-child. None of this is pro-child. It's pro-money. And the standardized tests are used not to rate the children. I mean, if Johnny takes a standardized test in English and does well, you know who gets credit? The school. If the school gets credit, the school gets more money. Johnny doesn't get anything out of this. So it's nonsensical. And in the book, I propose changes. You know, back in the day when I was a kid, there were vocational high schools. Kids who didn't want to go to college went to a vocational high school, learned how to repair cars, learned how to repair refrigerators, plumbing. A plumber makes more than a teacher today. Where is that gone? Why isn't that in anything today? There's nothing like that around. Education today is a mess. Now, with the book, I sent it to Rob Astorino, who's the Westchester County executive. I've met a couple of times with a committee I formed there called the Uncommon Core to make plans to change education. It's not enough to say, well, this sucks, if you pardon my French, but you have to have plans to change it. So I sent him a copy of my book, in which he is mentioned, by the way. He's against all this. He read the book, and he sent me a note saying how good the book was. Okay. So if I could get the book out there, it would be phenomenal. But people are scared. You know, you don't upset apple carts. I know teachers today who are afraid. They're afraid to rock the boat.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
if you rock the boat, you're rated poorly, you lose your job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so who suffers?
Mm-hmm.
Our kids.
Right. Hey, Gary, the last time you were on the show, we did discuss the scandal that happened in Atlanta, Georgia, where, what was it, maybe, was it 13, 14 teachers that were fired because they were
for giving answers,
cheating?
yeah.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, they've actually I've read a couple of reports where they've actually had a chance to talk to a couple of the teachers, and they're saying the exact same thing that you're saying. We had no other choice. It was either.
Yeah, the only thing was, I'll tell you a secret.
Go ahead.
Long ago, when I first started teaching, I was green, about as green as you can get. I went into teaching to avoid being drafted in the Vietnam War. So they sent me to a special service school, and I was totally lost. It was a junior high school, but I loved the kids, and eventually the kids loved me. I mean, I started drama programs there, and I'm not, well, forget it. I am bragging. In 2016, I still hear from students of mine for the past 35, 39 years who I taught when they were in school. They're now my friends in Facebook, and not only that, they're in their 50s today, which is nice. Mm-hmm. I'm still in contact with these people, so I was a damn good teacher. Anyway, kids took these tests. They weren't standardized at the time, but these are inner city kids on Jennings Street in the Bronx. At the time, across the street, there was a burned-out building. There was a lot on the corner that was filled with garbage. This is the background these kids lived in. So I wrote the answers to some of the questions to the test on the board. I said, class, look up. Number 46, the answer is A, and I erased it quickly. That's what I did then because I was against it then. If I were there today, if I did that, I'd be arrested. That would be. They'd throw me in jail.
Exactly, right.
You know, but any parent I speak to, you know, who I give the book out. As I sell the book if I can. I'm on Amazon. I'm on Barnes & Noble, and Tate is a publisher, Tate. And as I mentioned to you, I have a book signing coming up in January, a new Barnes & Noble in Eastchester. But it's hard to get the word out. It is so hard. Today, you need a publicist. You need somebody who can represent you. So if any of your listeners know of anybody, please contact me, GaryChatty@AOL.com.
Okay.
GaryChatty@AOL.com. Or you can go to my different websites, which is MrBarMitzvah.com, SuperTutors.com. I also have an online newspaper called the Westchester Arts and Education Review, where I review movies and theater and educational ideas for the residents of Westchester. So I do a lot to try and get my word out. And it's not a selfish word. I mean, I'm not teaching anymore, and I'm not an administrator of programs anymore. But the kids who are still tutored today, I say to the kid, are you learning anything in school? And they say, yes, the Common Core. And I looked last week, a girl I tutor for her bat mitzvah, and I also teach her piano. One of the books from her school, you turn the back of the book. You know who published the book? Pearson. So the schools in America are buying Pearson books and testing Pearson tests. And the SATs and the GREs, the graduate record exam, are all from Pearson. Wow. Surprise.
So Gary, let me ask you a question. Let me stop you there and ask you a question real quickly. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So basically you're telling us, we know that they have privatized the prisons. You know, they're making profits off of that. People are getting arrested basically because they need the money. Let me just keep it real.
Sure.
So now you're telling me that they're also basically, they privatized the schools using Pearson's and these other companies for the? Is that what you're kind of saying? Is it? Can you call the
and
school
the Common Core and the Common Core? Yeah,
and the Common Core.
The Common Core was formulated 8 years ago by a cabal of 27 people in a room in Washington, D.C. It's in the book. And the names of most of the people are in the book. No teachers, no administrators, just eggheads or whatever. I apologize. If they're eggheads, then the yoke is on us because they formulated this Common Core policy. Obama pushed it to the states who were in a deep George W. Bush recession. Here, put the Common Core in. We'll give you money. You know, if somebody came to me and said, look, teach the Common Core, we'll give you money, I'm not going to say no. Yeah, I'll take the money, sure. And that's what's happened. You know, and unfortunately, the only person running for president today who's against this stuff is Trump, which is really funny.
That is funny.
It's really funny. I mean, obviously, the man is a psychotic, but he's against it.
Gary, we don't do political. We don't do political on my show, so we're just going to have to leave that there. But
I'm just telling you that one of the candidates is against it, and one is for it. You know, and we're going to be stuck with the one who's for it. So it's more of the same. But again, as I stated in the beginning of this conversation, no one has mentioned education in 17, 18 months of campaigning. Not one questioner of any of these candidates has said, and what are your plans for the children of America? Nothing. We're dealing with sex scandals, and we're dealing with emails and all nonsensical stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with the future of our country.
Exactly.
Because we're turning out,
Gary, not only are the children not being discussed in this political season, but even the citizens aren't being discussed. Like you said, it's not about policies or what their goals and their plans are. It's all about, you said this, you did that. I just avoid all of it. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, it's cute.
One thing, Gary, in your book, one thing that I did not know, and this is something I really want to chat about quickly, is the fact that you mentioned in your book that parents actually, there's an option where they can opt out of the movement to have their kids take the standardized test. Is that correct?
And
how does it work?
There's a big movement in the United States called Opt Out. There are many sites online. There's a MED, capital M, capital A, capital D, capital D. There's a lot of sites against the test. If you get this, a parent has to sign a note saying, I don't want my child to take the test. Nothing happens to the kid. Nothing. Because the tests have nothing to do with the kid. They have to do with the standing of the school and standing of the district. So any parent who hears this broadcast, don't send your kid in to take a stupid 3-hour test that doesn't count. You test what a child learns, not what the school expects the child to learn.
Exactly.
Like I mentioned many times before, Johnny, I use the name Johnny in Scarsdale will do better on a standardized test than Frankie from Detroit. Not based on intelligence, but based on background.
Exactly.
You know, and you talk about the prisons. Bernie Sanders brought this up. There are more people in prison in the United States than any place in the world because kids are not learning in school.
Right.
They're not learning anything. And besides, they're not learning how to be a citizen anywhere. Parents don't have time, and the schools abdicate. The idea is that schools, like I mentioned, vocational schools should prepare kids for life. There are life lessons to be learned. There's no time. There's no time for music or art or gym or anything. No, we teach for the test. Why? So the kids will score high in the test. Why? So the school will look good in the district. Why? The district will get more money. Why? So the state will get more money.
Wow.
It has nothing to do with learning whatsoever.
Wow.
The
sad thing that I'm sorry, I'm calling you Bernie Sanders. Gary, the sad thing that I
call
see.
Bernie Sanders. That's an honor.
Right. I guess that's not a bad thing. What I see with a lot of these schools and the curriculum that they have out, and I can honestly say to my listening audience that I'm very close to it because I just left a public library system, so fortunately I did get a chance to, to interact with a lot of the kids in the public school systems in the St. Louis, Missouri area, which is where I'm located. I can honestly, and it also gave me an opportunity to talk to a couple of ex-teachers. I can't begin to tell you how many teachers have opted out of teaching because they just don't want to deal with the standardized testing.
Isn't that a shame, though? So what we're turning off, we're turning off the best and the brightest, and we're getting drones. We're getting drones who follow the dictates.
Exactly.
It's almost like a totalitarian society where the school dictates what the kids – well, it's not the school, the district or the state. And the country dictates what the kids are to learn. Then it tests them on that. And if they fail, who's failing? The kid. We're not teaching kids. We're teaching tests. And then we rate teachers on how well they teach the stupidity.
Yeah.
It's not education. It's not education. And
not
people,
at all.
Kids from the inner city.
Gary, what I see is that the current, and correct me if I'm wrong, and for my listening audience, if you're listening to the show and you'd like to weigh in on this, feel free to hit us up on our Author Chat Facebook page or the blog. But, Gary, what I see is that the schools are basically just churning out mindless employees. There's no creativity anymore in school. A lot of the arts programs have gone away. So you're just basically, like you mentioned earlier, you're just basically graduating a bunch of drone workers. That's what I call them.
That's correct.
That's
correct.
It's really sad.
Why isn't there an uproar? Seriously, I mean, why isn't there a political uproar in the country?
You know why? Why there's not an uproar? It's actually, believe it or not, it's what you mentioned at the beginning of this show. Parents are so busy working 2 and 3 jobs, just trying to keep a roof over their heads, keep their kids fed and in school, that they're too tired. I mean, when you think about it. If you're too tired, if you're after working 2 jobs, you come home. Kids are probably in bed because it should be after 11 if you're working 2 jobs. You don't have an opportunity to ask them about their day, and you certainly don't have an opportunity to go to any of the PTA meetings, get to any of the school meetings, to be a voice, to be heard because you're working so much. So
well, I took a survey in Westchester when I was doing research for the book of over 1,000 people, parents and teachers. 96% were against it. We're against Common Core, standardized testing, and the stupid teachers' evaluation rubric. 96%, but nobody does anything. And my book, look, the book is over 300 pages. It reads like a novel, as I mentioned. But look, without a publicist and without a literary agent, the book has been published. Tate published it. It's on Amazon Nook. It's at all these websites. But how's anybody going to know the book exists? I mean, what am I going to do? Go on the rooftop and shout? I was. Incidentally, I was on the. Sorry.
I do want to mention, and I understand exactly. That's actually how this show came about. Not only your book, but a lot of self-published or indie authors, and now even with traditional publishers, they've taken such a hit from us, the self-published and the indie authors, and I take great pride in saying that, indie publishers, that they're now telling, even with a literary agent, don't go release your book as an ebook, put it online, see what type of fan base you come up with. Once you get so many followers, come back to us and we'll revisit it. That's where the publishing industry is right now. So believe it or not, we just need to get you on all of the blog radios, the blog talk radio shows and the different podcasts to get your information out there, because believe it or not, this is really how people are watching. They're getting their entertainment through the internet. This is 2016. Was born in 1958. I can't begin to explain to you how amazing it is to me that I no longer have cable. I no longer watch basic local news, just the core stations that we had. I now live stream everything, and it's just amazing. And we want to progress, but we want to make sure that we do it in a way that is good and it's profitable for everybody, not just for the chosen few. I think that's the issue that we need to talk about when it comes to things like your book. Right. Go ahead, sweetie.
That's okay. What's not told, and it's in the book, is that our children are our future. That's why it's called My Child Left Behind. Mm-hmm. And like you mentioned, we're turning out automatons, kids without brains, kids who know how to take tests, not kids with feelings, not kids who think of others, not kids with knowledge, not kids who, as I mentioned, can be plumbers or TV repairmen, anything like that. We're not teaching. This is all stupidity and nonsense. And if you have any ideas for me to put myself out there with this book, I'm ready to go. The only problem is that people are scared. And I swear this is true. Teachers especially are scared. You don't rock the boat. You want the check, you don't rock the boat. And as you mentioned, parents don't have time. Now, just taking the plight, I'm going to use Bernie Sanders again. You have all our kids, African American and Latino kids, ending up in prison because they are not set on a standard, set on a way in school. Let's say the parent isn't available. In local parentis, schools should guide the child towards a future. Now, Obama came out yesterday and said, wow, 83% of our kids are graduating high school. What the hell happened to the 70% who aren't? Where'd they go?
Exactly.
Why don't we have 100% of kids graduating high school?
Exactly.
What's wrong with our country?
Well, Gary, believe it or not, our time is up. And for my listening audience, the book that we're discussing is My Child Left Behind. It's published by Tate. And as Gary mentioned, it's available on Kindle, on Amazon for $15.99. The paperback is $33.99. Feel free to go into any bookstore. If you don't have it, if you can't find it on the shelf, just make sure you go and order a copy. They can get it to you probably within 2 to 3 business days. This is definitely, it's up to you, Gary. Since this is your baby that you birthed, it's really going to be up to you to get this book out here, to get that word out. We're going to do what we can on this end as far as promoting the interview. I'll be working on your YouTube video for this as well, so that you can use that to get the word out, because I think what you have here is very important. And we don't want to look up 20 years down the line and go, what's going on with our children?
Unfortunately, we're doing that today.
We are.
We're doing that today.
Absolutely.
Our kids aren't learning anything. They're learning how to take a test. And that's not going to do well in the future. It isn't.
Right.
I mean, if you look at the current state of our teenagers today, they're
Sweetheart,
unfocused.
the system is the switchboard is going to take us off, so I don't want to cut us off without you once again giving our listening audience your contact information. How can we contact you online?
The easiest way is Gary Chatty, GaryChatty @AOL. That's the best and easiest way. I can be reached.
That's actually your email address, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's
okay.
me.
Do you have a website for the book? Did Tate set you up with a website?
I don't have a specific website for the book yet, but you can check out MrBarMitzvah.com. You can check out the supertutors.com or Westchester Arts and Education Review.com. But again, the fastest and quickest way is through my email.
Okay, sounds good. So if you want to contact
when I get it,
Or if you want to contact author Gary Chattman, Chattman, please email him at garychatty, Chatty, at AOL.com. Well, that's our show for today. Gary, we'd like to thank you so much for coming on. Once again, you've been a great guest. You've given us some great information, and it's just really up to us to get this word out so that we can make some changes into the educational system. So, again, we really thank you for coming on.
What you do.
Absolutely. All right, sweetheart. Listen, you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, okay?
I will, and you too. Thank you so much.
Please. Anytime. Bye-bye. So that was author and educator Gary Chattman. Again, the title of his book is My Child Left Behind. And if you go to Amazon, the subtitle for this book is How Government Standardization is Corrupting Our Most Precious Resource. And we find that that's true. While I was actually chatting with Gary, I did Google parents opting out of the Common Core. Google that, and you can find some more information about that. All right, that's our show for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to catch you back here tomorrow on the Author Chat Show. Bye-bye. Enjoy your Tuesday.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can seem intense, like breakup R&B intense.
I thought you said you loved the sweater that I got you. If you didn't, you could have told me.
Geico makes it easy. Just go to Geico.com anytime to update or check your policy without all the extra drama.
I even had a gift receipt.